Hi everybody, my name is Jake and I want to welcome you to my parent training video on the functions of behavior. So first things first, let's talk about what a problem behavior is. Actually, before we talk about problem behaviors, what I first want to do is define what a behavior is. So a behavior is pretty much anything a person says or does that is observable and measurable. So a problem behavior is any behavior that interferes with the learning of a person or that person's ability to develop meaningful relationships with others. So some examples of problem behaviors include like things like physical aggression, tantrums, property destruction, or refusals. So all these behaviors have the ability to interfere with a person's learning or their ability to develop meaningful relationships with others. So now let's talk about the four functions of behavior. So the function of a behavior refers to the reason as to why that behavior is occurring. So it's important to understand that every behavior occurs for a reason. So an easy way to remember the functions of behavior is through the acronym EATS. So E-A-T-S. So the first function of behavior is escape, or avoidance. So this means that a person is engaging in a behavior because they want to get out of a non-preferred task or activity. So the next function is attention, which means that the person is engaging in a behavior because they want people to look at them, they want people to talk to them, or they want people to like hug them or give them some sort of physical touch. The next function is tangible or access. So this means that a person is engaging in a behavior to get access to preferred things or activities. And the last function is sensory or automatic. So this means that the person is engaging in the behavior because it feels good internally for them to be performing. So how do we determine the function of a behavior? So there's a couple of ways in which we can determine the function of a behavior, but one of the main and best ways to determine the function of a behavior is to look at the antecedents, the behavior, and the consequences, or A, B, and C. So the antecedents, that refers to what comes right before the behavior. It's also known as the trigger. So whatever comes right before the behavior is the antecedent. So the behavior refers to, as we talked about earlier, it's what a person says or does, and it is done in response to the antecedent. And lastly, the consequence is what comes right after the behavior. I know that consequence generally has a negative connotation to it, but in this field, the consequence just refers to what comes directly after the behavior. So one of the most important things to realize is that the consequence that comes right after a behavior will determine whether that behavior will increase or decrease. So if a behavior is followed by desirable consequences, and that depends on the function of a behavior, then what we say is that the behavior is being reinforced, which means that the behavior will go up in the future. So if you look at this visual, so this would be an example of a behavior in which the function is attention. So if we look at the first column, it says Tom is cooking dinner. So that's what comes right before the behavior. And then the behavior is that Ethan jumps off of the couch. And then the consequence is that Tom tells Ethan to stop. So if you look at the antecedent here, Tom is cooking dinner. He's not talking to Ethan and he's not looking at him. So as a response, Ethan jumps off of the couch, but the consequence, Tom talks to him. So he talks to Ethan. So in this instance, we would say that Ethan's behavior, which the function is attention, is getting reinforced because it's being followed by Tom talking to Ethan. Now, what is extinction? So extinction is the process of a behavior no longer receiving desirable consequences based on its function. And as a result, the behavior will decrease in the future. So there are 4 different extinction procedures based on the 4 functions of behavior. So the first is escape extinction. So this is used for behaviors in which the function is escape. So like let's say if a child is throwing a tantrum because his mom told him to do a non-preferred task, such as maybe like taking out the trash, if she were to implement escape extinction, that would mean that she would not let the child get out of taking out the trash. So the next extinction procedure is planned ignoring. So this is used for behaviors where the function is attention. So in our previous example from the previous slide, so if Ethan were to jump off the couch when his dad is not looking at him or talking to him, if his dad were to implement planned ignoring, what he would do is not say anything about him jumping off the couch. He would not look at him. He would not even acknowledge that the behavior was occurring. So that's planned ignoring. The next one is tangible extinction, and this extinction procedure is used for behaviors where the function is tangible. So to give an example, if a child is crying and screaming because he was not given a cookie, implementing tangible extinction would involve not giving him the cookie. The last extinction procedure is sensory extinction. So this extinction procedure is used for sensory behaviors. So let's say if a child is like mouthing inedible objects, like maybe like a block or something like that, putting that on sensory extinction would involve removing the block. So that way he's no longer able to get sensory. So now that we've talked about extinction, let's talk about what a replacement behavior is. So replacement behavior is an alternate desirable behavior that serves the same function as the problem behavior to be decreased. So to give an example of that, if a child is engaging in a tantrum where the function is escape, a replacement behavior for an escape maintained behavior would be like asking for a break, or like asking like, hey, can I do the non-preferred task later? So that's a replacement behavior because that is a more desirable response rather than tantruming. So, and it's also important to realize that when teaching a replacement behavior, the replacement behavior must serve the same function as the problem behavior. And the reason for that is because if it does not serve the same function as the problem behavior, then the problem behavior will not decrease in the future. So now that we've talked about extinction and replacement behaviors, let's talk about a strategy that incorporates both of those elements. So a strategy that involves teaching a replacement behavior and also implementing extinction is known as differential reinforcement of an alternative behavior, or DRA. And as I said, what this involves, it involves providing reinforcing consequences for a replacement behavior while simultaneously using extinction for a problem behavior. So to give an example of implementing DRA, if a child is like engaging in a tantrum behavior to get out of, like, let's say doing homework, so the function would be escape here, what implementing DRA would involve is using extinction when the child engages in the tantrum. So like let's say if the child is tantruming and mom tells him to do his homework, then what she would do is she would not let him get out of doing his homework. Now, like let's say if the child is not engaging in tantrum behavior any longer, what the mom can do is she can teach the child to ask for like a break, or ask, can I do my homework later? And then when the child does that, then what the mom would want to do is she would want to allow escape from homework. And the cool thing about DRA is that it can be used on a variety of problem behaviors, whether it's like aggression or like self-stimulatory behavior or tantrums. So I hope you found this video to be informative about the functions of behavior, extinction, and replacement behaviors. And as always, please reach out to your behavior analyst or clinician if you have any additional questions regarding the functions of behavior, ABC data, extinction, replacement behaviors, or DRA. Thanks!